Let death make you serious about life. A talk by Avatar Adidas Samraj. 1. Devotee. Beloved Adidar, I have always feared that experiences after death can be more bewildering and more profoundly disturbing than the waking state. Will I lose whatever realization I have while I am alive by being distracted by experience after I am dead? Adidar, why should you persist in any attitude in life or after death that would require you to lose realization, since realization is not something that happens to you to begin with? Realization is realization of me. Knowing that, why should you participate in either life or death in such a way that realization of me would be lost? Devotee, well, seeing how distracting life is. Adidar, if you allow the events of life to confound your realization in life, you are likely to do the same thing after death, aren't you? Devotee, yes. Avatar Adidar Samraj, why should you want to do that? You are asking about death as if it is something that happens to you, as if things just happen to you after death. They do not just happen to you any more than things just happen to you while you live. I call you to the fundamental practice of turning to me while alive, whereby conditions of apparent unhappiness are transcended, and I call you to persist in that practice moment to moment. Such persistence is the means of your cooperation with the ego-transcending process in my avataric divine company while you are alive and after your death as well. Why would you want to discuss the possibilities after death as if those possibilities were things that just happened to you? Your question comes from bewilderment. It comes from a weakness in the moment-to-moment practice of Vishira Avatar Bhakti Yoga, and you are projecting that weakness onto future possibilities even while you are alive. You might as well have possibilities even while you are alive. You might as well have asked, could something happen to me this evening? Could something happen to me next week? Could something happen to me in 10 years that would be so distracting that I would be even more bewildered than I am now? Could I lose everything that I am gaining now or have gained? It is the same question, and it is a reflection of your disposition. It is not a reflection of conditions themselves. Conditional existence is only as bewildering as you are bewilderable. There is no limit to your possible bewilderment while you are alive or after you are dead. What is the great matter to be considered then? Your participation in conditional existence in my avataric divine company, which participation obviously must be transformed, or there is only bewilderment. And that bewilderment will not be cancelled merely by your death. Things can appear to happen to you after death, just as they can appear to happen to you before death. Bewilderment is what makes conditions seem to be merely happening to you, controlling your state, determining your condition, determining your state of realization or non-realization. All this that seems to be happening to you is an illusion, a self-inflicted form of bondage, which requires that you turn to me instead. And in the midst of that moment-to-moment turning to me, Observe your separate and separative self and understand your separate and separative self, and come to a point of new responsibility in the midst of conditions. That is what must be understood, otherwise bewilderment will continue. There is nothing inherently more bewildering after death than anything that could happen now. It is all a modification of the same divine self-condition that always already is. Therefore, what is your relationship to conditions? That is the real condition. That is the real question. Your ability to be bewildered depends entirely on your orientation to conditions, not on whether you are alive or whether you are dead, or what effects seem to be happening. The conditions of existence do not determine your bewilderment. Conditions are not inherently distracting. They are only distracting to you if you are disposed to be distracted. Conditions can be difficult after death. They can be difficult before death. Presently, you have the same kind of psychic capability, the same they can be difficult before death. Presently, you have the same kind of psychic capability, the same ability to be disturbed, if you like, that you could potentially have after death. It is all a play upon the same divine condition. Therefore, it requires for its transcending exactly the same capability that is your present responsibility as my devotee, moment to moment turning to me. Before death, you create mind. By your reactions, your disposition, your degree of responsibility, you determine the tendency of mind and your disposition altogether. And after death is a time when mind makes you, when your tendencies persist and determine further experience. On the other hand, the same option is given to you in either case. On the other hand, the same capability to turn to me, to transcend the self-contraction, to awaken to the divine self-condition, persists after death. That capability is not lost by dying. You have already created much mind, much tendency, much bewilderment. Therefore, those things are tending to reinforce themselves and to persist. You are being apparently played upon by them. Yet, while you are alive, you are called by me to turn to me and to observe yourself and transcend all of that which has already accumulated and which you are continuation of the waking state. All the varieties of states potential to the condition of life continue after death. While alive in the body, you are not only awake, but you also dream and sleep and experience the variations on these. Unconsciousness, reverie, hallucination. The waking state is not just one thing either. It is a variety of tendencies, reactions, states of mind, states of feeling, states of body. A very wide range of possibilities is associated with the born condition in the body-mind. Likewise after death. All the states and all the variations on them persist by tendency in the context of certain conditions, which, in their time and place, will seem given or normal to you, just as conditions now seem to be. Nevertheless, there is still my fundamental call to you to turn to me, moment to moment, and thereby to observe, to understand, to transcend the self-contraction, to assume responsibilities, to outgrow. Will you or won't you after death is not the question now. The question now is, will you or won't you now? That is the real question that comes to you presently. Because what you do about it what will you enforce or reinforce while continuing in this body? That is the real question that comes to you presently, because what you do about it in the present moment and in all future moments will determine what comes after death. If you really understand this, then you become serious in your moment-to-moment resort to me. Life and death and what happens after death will stop seeming to be some mechanical event that is just happening to you, a given form that you presume on the basis of your conversations with others. If you really understand this, then you become serious in your moment-to-moment resort to me. Life and death and what happens after death will stop seeming to be some mechanical event that is just happening to you, a given form that you presume on the basis of your conversations with others. Instead of letting it all happen, instead of doing it by rote, you must become seriously involved in what is going on and turn to me, moment to moment. Then you no longer are merely mechanically involved in the destiny of karma. The after states are really karmic conditions, just like the states experienced in the context of bodily life. All conditional states are karmic, or in other words, the product of the universal display or of the fields of energy associated with the cosmic design. The possibilities are not only numerous in some sense, you could say they are infinite. In any case, they are all built upon two basic trends of energy, one that you might call positive and the other that you might call negative. In any case, they are all built upon two basic trends of energy, one that you might call positive and the other that you might call negative. The positive and the negative are just as potential after death as during bodily life. Da.